Welcome to Season 5, Episode 2 of Bottom of the Stream. My name is Adam.
My name is Nick. Welcome aboard.
How are you, Nick?
I'm excellent.
Yeah? Looking forward to talking about this one?
Yes, we have.
Me too.
We've dredged the stream, and this week we have come up with a rom-com.
We have indeed. A rom-com indeed. This week's film is called Happy Anniversary. It is from 2018. It is a 15. It runs for 1 hour and 18 minutes. Currently rated at 5.7 on IMDb.
Okay.
Shall I read you the synopsis again?
Yeah, let's go for it.
People's memories of what it actually is, if they have not seen it. It says, a couple on their third year anniversary need to decide whether to stay together or call it quits. And the tagline is, falling in love is easy, landing is hard.
That's
love
cheesy.
A tagline. It's proper cheesy. I love a tagline.
It's a cheesy tagline for what isn't particularly a cheesy movie, I wouldn't have said.
No, not at all. It isn't. His poster's all like cartoony and is full of love hearts and upside down love hearts and cartoons and shit. And it's not like that either. She's not schmaltzy.
It's not what?
Schmaltzy.
Oh, right, okay.
I don't know why I said it like it's not schmaltzy.
You said it like you had a mouthful of marshmallows.
I usually have,
maybe,
but at the minute
maybe you have. Yeah. I'm not judging.
Right, this film stars a lady called Noel Wells. Is that her name?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. She plays a character called Molly. Probably most famous. She does a lot of Saturday Night Live stuff.
She does, yes.
She's a voice in a lot of animation. But I didn't really recognise her. Have you seen her in anything before?
I recognised her and then looked her up and thought, I don't know why I recognise you.
Yeah, I don't know what I've seen you in before.
I can only think it is from sort of seeing, when you get clips of Saturday Night Live pop up on like your Facebook or your social medias. I presume that is from where I know her. I said the words the wrong way around, but that's fine. Carry on.
It's fine. I'll edit it the right way around for you.
Oh, good. Yeah, cheers.
Also stars a guy called Ben Schwartz. He plays Sam. He is pretty famous. He's most famous for being the voice of Sonic the Hedgehog in the new Sonic the Hedgehog movies.
Sure. He was in Space Force recently.
He was, indeed. He has been a voice in BoJack Horseman as well.
Yeah, he's in Parks and Rec.
Parks and Rec, he's probably most well known for. And he also he's got his own show on Netflix.
Sure.
Called Middleditch and Schwartz. Schwartz? Why can't I speak properly? Middleditch and Schwartz. I still can't say it. And that's really good. It's like an improv stand-up comedy show. We've talked about it on the show before. It's just wonderful. It's really, really funny.
There's only 3 of them.
Yeah.
And they're great. So they just... Thomas Middleditch and Ben Schwartz just make up a play. I'm going to say, just a play, really, isn't it? Based on sort of questions that they ask the audience. It is really funny.
It is.
If you like improv, which does divide people somewhat, I do understand. It's good. It's really funny.
The wedding episode is amazing.
Yeah.
It's really good. Also stars a guy called Rahul Kohli, who plays Ed. He is most famous. He's in The Haunting of Bly Manor.
Yeah.
He's also going to be in Midnight Mass, which
cool.
is we've talked about many times. I was going to say Mickey Flanagan's new show. That's not right. What's his name? Flanagan.
Mike Flanagan.
Mike, not Mickey. Mike. He's in that, which is based on characters from Hush, or basically some sort of spin-off to Hush, isn't it? Which won season 2 of this show. And he's also in iZombie. He's
that's certainly where I know him from immediately. Yeah. He was in, I don't know how many hundreds of episodes of that there are. Yeah,
so there's a stellar cast in this, I would say.
Well, I mean, certainly the person I was most surprised to see pop up in this was Annie Potts, who plays Molly's mother.
Yes.
Who was in Ghostbusters.
She was, indeed.
She played Janine.
Yeah, you wouldn't recognise her now, though, would you?
I knew it straight away.
Oh, did you?
I was like, that's Janine from Ghostbusters.
And I knew the face, and until I looked it up, I was like, I'm not sure who that is. And then I looked it up, I was like, of course it is. We're having a very Ghostbusters heavy week this week.
I know.
Written and directed by a guy called Jared Stern. This was his first ever role as a director. But he's got writing credits for quite a lot of things that you would have heard of. He wrote the screenplay for Mr. Popper's Penguins.
Oh, sure.
He also wrote the screenplay for a film called The Watch, which is supposed to be quite good. And he also wrote Lego Batman and Lego Ninjago, the movie.
I like Lego Batman.
Yeah, I'd like Lego Batman movie as well. It's good. So yeah, he's a good writer. This is his first time as a director. Where does this film... No. Have you got a one-word review, Nick?
Snarky.
Snarky?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. I'd give it that.
There's a lot of... It's quite a cynical film, isn't it?
Very much so, yeah.
And with 2 cynical lead characters. We're definitely going to get into this, I think.
Yeah, 100%. My one-word review, if you ask me, would be montage. Because I'm basically going to call this Montage the Movie. Because
It is. But...
there's just all montages.
Yeah, but I quite like... Not all the...
I'm not saying it's a bad thing.
No, but we'll get into this as we go along. They definitely get a bit creative with how they use the montage.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, but that is absolutely fair.
Thank you. Where does this film start, Nick?
We're at an apartment and there's 2 couples.
Yep.
They're catching up, aren't they? One couple's just returned from holiday and they're doing their dreaded, here are all our photos from our travels.
There's nothing worse, is there? I hate it. Yeah, they're basically... I've written hippie couple showing a bored couple photos of a holiday.
Yeah. They're total hipsters.
Yeah, it seems to be... Molly went to college with one of them, or both of them. They're like friends of one of them, but not friends so much with the other one.
Yeah.
That's how I understood it. Then Molly and Sam, who are the couple, they drive home, basically just slagging off this other couple the whole way.
Yeah.
Having a bit of a... As you do, don't you, when you've been with people you don't really like that much, you talk about them all the way home.
Yeah, they're like, it's all an act. They don't love each other. They don't love each other that much.
Yeah.
You know, it's this straight away. Yeah, this is it sets the tone, doesn't it?
Yeah. Sam and Molly have automatic gates on their house, and they decide to race them. So they both have a theory on where you should press the gate opening button in the car to be able to not slow down to go through the gates, if that makes sense. And they do, don't they?
Yeah,
they get through them and beat them.
Just about the whole thing is like a metaphor for like her being a bit more of a risk taker and Sam playing it safe, I guess.
Yeah. When they get home, they reveal that it's their 3rd anniversary, or it's just past midnight, so that it now is their 3rd anniversary.
Yeah.
And we cut to the next morning. Sam brings Molly breakfast in bed.
Right, this was my first laugh because you know I love the Big Lebowski.
I do.
And there was a clear Big Lebowski reference here because the first thing, as you say, we cut to the next day and you hear the dog barking.
Yeah.
And the dog just keeps barking. And Molly's still in bed and the first word she says, "Oh, shut the fuck up, Donnie." Because the dog's called Donnie. And I'm like, yeah, I thought 1,000,000 points straight away.
Are you all in already? That's
I just thought it was a great reference.
I hadn't spotted that. That's great. I hadn't spotted that. They kind of ignore the breakfast and they're about to get down and do some naughty business. And just as they're about to get to it, she just suddenly blurts out, "I'm not happy."
Uh-oh, yeah. Here we go.
And she gave no indication of this previously. They looked happy enough the night before. And they start having an argument. And it all starts kicking off between the two of them, doesn't it? There's a good line where one of them, because he's brought her a scone for breakfast.
Yeah, and some jam. And he really wants her to eat the jam.
Yeah, he really, really does. And then he's like, "Can we just kill 2 birds with 1 scone?" That was
a great line.
That was my first laugh in the movie. She hits him with a major burn because she says, "I want you to be more like the guy out you were 3 years ago." And I was like, "Oh, that's really harsh."
It's really harsh.
It really, really is. And that triggers our first flashback of the movie. We basically, this movie's just basically all about their relationship, and we find out how they first met in this first flashback. Basically, Molly's sitting at a bar. Sam walks up. He's waiting for a date. They get chatting. They really hit it off straight away. They start.
They do that whole thing where they sit down. You've seen this hundreds of times in movies and TV shows.
Yeah.
So they sit at the bar and they play that game where that couple over there. What are their names? What do they do?
Yeah.
And they've got this kind of rapid fire repartee straight away, haven't they?
Yeah. So yeah, they're chatting away and getting to know each other. But then Sam's date eventually shows up. So he kind of leaves her. And we cut back to the argument. She's now on the toilet, and they're still arguing, and she's pissing in front of him, basically. And we get a bit of a flashback to the previous night when they were with this couple. It's a split screen flashback, which is a strange thing to use in a movie. But
I quite like this.
I
think this was something we've not really seen before.
So Molly's talking to the girl of the partnership. I don't know if we got names for these people.
Yeah, I think Lindsay and How? Hi.
Wow,
Something like that, I think.
But anyway, Molly's talking to whoever the female is. She's talking about how she feels like it might be time to move on. And Sam is talking to the man of the relationship, and he's talking about how it might be time to move to the next level. Commitment.
Yeah.
Cut back to them again. She's like, I've got to leave now. I've got to take my dad to his chemotherapy. And they take it out into the street, don't they? They start arguing out in the street in front of all the neighbours. They get in the car.
And then she kind of catches herself because she's totally forgotten that it's a big day for Sam.
Yeah,
because he's got a big pitch at work.
Yeah, big work thing.
And she sort of like immediately, I'm really sorry. I've laid all this on you, like on your big day, basically.
Yeah. So they're he drops her off at her parents' house, doesn't he? And
yeah.
But while we're on the journey, we have two montages. We have a montage of all of their previous arguments, which is from her perspective. And then the second montage comes straight after that of all of his happy memories, all of their good times.
It's a good and bad montage, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I thought this was quite well done as well. The bad montage where they were just fuck you, I want you to die. I thought it was quite. I thought that set a level of emotionalness that wasn't in the rest of this movie.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I think they got to do some proper acting in that montage.
Yeah.
And there's the bit where like Ben Schwartz closes the door and he says, what does he say? Something like, I'll only be happy when you're dead.
Yeah. The bit just to the door, doesn't he?
Yeah, and he's like got tears in his eyes, and I was like, oh, we're going to see some proper acting in this movie.
Yeah.
And then we never really did.
I think that's fair. It gets to a stage where it's like, well, this is still going on now, and it seems like it's a really short movie. It's only 78 minutes long. Incidentally, exactly the same length as last week's movie.
Really?
And, yeah, okay. And it feels like there's too much time. It doesn't feel like there's enough story to fill that 78 minutes. For me,
yeah, but I don't think... Okay, we'll get into that. I mean, I don't think this story is not really important, which sounds really stupid, but I don't think it is really to this movie.
Yeah, that's fair, I suppose. But the whole movie is just this argument.
Yeah, well, it's just...
it just keeps going.
Yeah. Will they stay together or not? It's...
Yeah. So they arrive at her parents' house just before she gets out of the car. They're talking about having a baby. She says she definitely wants a baby, but she's not sure he's the right guy, which is another massive burn. Yeah,
and this is what finally kind of pushes Sam over the edge, and he's like, "Well, that's what this is all about, isn't it? It's am I too shitty for you to want to me to father your child?"
Yeah, because she said she's running out of time. She's 34, and if she's got to go through the whole rigmarole of meeting somebody else, getting into a relationship to that level again, she's running out of time. So she has to decide now whether it's time for if he's the right person or not.
Yeah. They're both coming across so far as extremely self-centered.
Yeah, completely.
And yeah, I think that is by design.
Yeah.
But they're kind of hard to like at this point.
Yeah, they're not likeable. She's decided she's going to stay with her parents for a while, and to the point where she's already planned this because she already has a suitcase in the car, which he didn't even know was there. She when she gets out, she opens the boot and there's just a massive suitcase. So
but I quite liked it because she's like, "Oh, can you help me? It's really heavy." And he's like, "No, fuck you. Take your own suitcase."
And he drives off with the boot still open.
Yeah,
he's like straight off. No, and he goes straight round to see his mate. His mate is Ed, the guy we talked about at the beginning. Instantly, he's like, "Well, she's dead to me. I'm done. I never liked her in the first place." Yes, this guy is
best
me to a T. This is the exactly sort of thing I do. So you're my best mate. I'm completely blinded by that. She's dead to me. Is basically what he says.
This guy is the best role in the film because he can he gets all the best lines. It's all the comedy stuff. I probably liked this film the most when Sam and Ed were together.
Yeah, they really played off each other really nicely. They had a really nice chemistry that maybe the other two didn't have. Sam and Molly didn't have.
Maybe that's the romance we should have got.
Maybe, yeah. Ed even offers to set Sam up with one of his girlfriend or wife's mates. It's like, I've literally just split up with my girlfriend. I'm not ready for dating, but it was quite a funny exchange between the two of them.
Because Ed's of Indian heritage, isn't he?
Yeah.
And there's a good back and forth as well because Sam's like, well, weren't you in an arranged marriage?
Yeah.
And he's like, no, how dare you assume that?
he says it about his parents as well, doesn't he? So your parents definitely weren't. He was like, they weren't. It was quite funny. Meanwhile, Molly's talking to her mum about it, but her mum is not listening.
No, she's listening to the Bible on audiobook.
She's got an audiobook of the Bible playing randomly.
That made me laugh as well.
Cut back to Sam and his mate again.
Ed says to Sam, "Oh, what about that? Your girlfriend before? What was her name? Georgia." And Sam was like, yeah, she was easy. And then it flashes back to them being very boring and not speaking
basically
a word.
Both sitting next to each other, just reading a book together.
Yeah.
And Sam eventually confides to Ed. She's like, "Look, Molly just doesn't let herself be happy. She just can't let herself be happy."
Yeah, he says she's self-destructive.
Yeah, basically.
And then they end up having a talk about like kids, and is this the point where it turns out that Ed's girlfriend is pregnant?
Yes, I think it is. Yeah,
because he didn't pull out quick enough.
Yeah, they go there.
And just as they're having quite a vile conversation, the businesswoman who they are pitching their idea to turns up.
Yeah, basically they're in Ed's garage where they seem to be running a small business of printing T-shirts.
Yeah.
And she turns up they're trying to sell these T-shirts to her to sell in her boutique shop.
Sam's like a bit of an artist, isn't he? Because I think does he design labels?
Yeah.
His day job is like doing packaging for, I don't know, dishwasher or something like that. So yeah, they're trying to sell these T-shirts off the back of the garage, but they've got a potential investor. Yeah,
that's the sub story. Molly's in the car with her dad now. She's taking her dad to chemo. They're having a chat about it as well. There's a flashback whilst they're driving to Sam being really indecisive. He won't make any decisions about anything.
I can totally relate to this.
Yeah, you're the most indecisive person I've ever met.
That's not true.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. It's fine. But he's like been put in a situation, hasn't he, by Molly, where are they trying to choose a restaurant?
Yeah, there's a few things they're trying to choose between, and he won't make the decision.
And he knows whichever one he chooses is going to be the wrong answer.
Yeah. Because the next flashback is her being really controlling. So there's, again, two montage flashbacks at the same time. One being him being indecisive, and then the second one you find out why that is. And it's because he chooses a restaurant and she's like, "Oh, really?"
Yeah.
And you're just like,
very passive-aggressive, isn't it?
Yeah.
And Molly's dad's played by Joe Pantoliano.
Yeah.
And he's great.
He is great.
And he basically says to Molly, he gives her a few home truths, doesn't he? He says, "Look, he's a good guy. You're being stupid, You can be quite difficult, basically." He lays it down for her. Says, "Look, it's always your way or the highway. You don't always make it easy for people."
And we're starting to learn this about Molly, aren't we? That she's not as pretty and pretty. That's really harsh. She's not as. What's the word I'm looking for?
You're going there.
She's not as nice as she came across at the beginning, I guess.
I suppose. Yeah.
Cut back to Sam and Ed. They are starting their pitch to this scary business lady. It's a bit like Dragon's Den. They're both standing in front of her, just sweating and nervous and chatting.
They've rehearsed the speech, haven't they?
Yeah.
And it doesn't go great.
Yeah, it really doesn't. Come back to the hospital. It cuts. Obviously, this is a story of two characters, so it cuts between the two of them quite a lot. So we cut between all. There's no long scenes in this. It's just very pacey, I guess is the right word. They're always just 2 or 3 minute scenes, every one of them. She's with her dad at the hospital this time. He's having his chemotherapy. So she goes off to get a drink. She walks past the maternity ward and gets all broody. And while she's there, she bumps into, I presume, a guy who was her ex-boyfriend.
Yeah, that's right.
It turns out this is Eric. And he's just had a baby that morning. With his current girlfriend, obviously. And they have a bit of a chat. They have a bit of a catch-up. He's very flirty. She flirts back a little bit. He gives her a massive compliment at the end, and then he just leaves. Says, "Right, I need to go back to the baby."
Yeah, Molly says to him, "How did you know your wife was the one?" And he says something like, "Oh, I'm not sure. Not sure I did."
Yeah.
Or words to that effect.
You were the one that got away, basically.
Flirt.
Then she starts thinking about him then, and there's a montage of I've written montage of Arik being strong. There's just a few scenes of him just doing things for her. That obviously
I recognised him from New Girl.
Oh, was he?
He was in quite a few episodes of New Girl. I think he was Jess's boyfriend at one point.
Okay, fair enough. Cut back to the pitch. It's gone disastrously wrong because the business lady sat on a chair that is covered in ink.
Yeah.
So her new couture top has now got ink all over it. So
it's got a load of polka dots on the back of it, basically, hasn't it?
So
like
her being
red, blue, all sorts.
Because their t-shirts are small designs on a t-shirt. I think that's how you describe it.
I thought the pitch was quite funny because they pull up the t-shirt with this logo on that Sam's done, and it's a big logo on the front center of the t-shirt.
Yeah.
And their pitch is like, what do people want? They want a cool logo, but they don't want to be seen in a cool logo. They want and they keep pulling out these t-shirts, and the logo's getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And they eventually pull out this t-shirt with the logo is so tiny, and that's all his time has gone into designing that. I thought it was quite funny.
Yeah, that's the gimmick, isn't it? There's t-shirts with tiny logos is what they're trying to sell.
Yeah.
And so this woman is very confident, very businesslike. She just instantly just takes her top off, and she's now just standing there in a bra, while then the two of them try and sort it out for her.
The shirt. Yeah.
Sorry. Sam's phone starts ringing while he's talking to this lady, and it starts to piss her off, and she's like, who is it? And eventually figures out that it's his ex-girlfriend, and she needs to talk about the breakup. So this woman's like, sort your life out. Basically what he says to him. I don't care. I'm not going anywhere now. Go and sort your life out.
She says something like, I don't want to be in a business with someone who doesn't care for their
partners.
wants to have their affairs in order or something like that.
So he does answer the phone. As soon as Molly hears his voice, she's like, oh shit, it's your work thing, sorry, and then just hangs up straight away.
Yeah, but she's clearly upset.
Yeah, very upset. And the business lady says, do you love her? And that triggers a love montage.
He's not sure. Yeah, he can't answer.
No, he can't answer, but it flashes back to all the points in their relationship where they've clearly been in love.
Yeah.
And then she sends him home. She's like, look, go home, sort it out. I'm not going anywhere. I've got to pick my kid up from school at like 4:30. And I'm not going anywhere. Yeah, you've got till then to get back here and we'll finish the pitch. So he leaves Ed. He leaves Ed there with this scary lady. And Ed is not happy about it. And he gets home. He goes home. He finds Molly on the floor with the dog, wrapped in a towel, because the dog has been skunked.
Oh no, man.
Bad times. I've never smelled a skunk, but I imagine it's not very nice.
It's not something we have to deal with in this country, is it?
No.
It's not a hazard.
Thank goodness. Do we even get skunks?
No.
I've never even seen a skunk, I don't think.
Have I seen a skunk in real life? I don't think I have.
Have you ever seen a badger in real life?
Almost every morning.
I don't mean dead ones. Have you ever seen a live badger?
Oh.
I don't think I have. I was thinking about this the other day.
No. they tend to be very still.
There's always dead ones on the side of the road, but I don't think I've ever seen a live one. Apparently they're really scary.
Oh, vicious. Vicious creatures.
Oh, I didn't know this. I've been educated by something in this film, because apparently the best way to get rid of a skunk smell from anything is to wash it in tomato juice.
I'll take it as read. Why not? Yeah,
yeah, I'm believing it. Unfortunately, they don't have any tomato juice, but they do have what seemingly is a lot of Bloody Marys.
Yeah, they've got like instant cocktails, haven't they?
Yeah, and so they fill the bath with it, and they're basically bathing.
They must have had so many.
I thought exactly what I was thinking. They must have had loads to fill a bath with it.
Because the bath was pretty full.
Yeah, it really was, and they're washing this dog with it. Obviously, it's bright red liquid. What do dogs do when they get wet? They give a good shake. Bright red liquid goes everywhere. They find it quite humorous. The dog runs off eventually. They eventually have a bit of a water fight with it between the two of them.
Yeah. So they end up mucking around on the kitchen floor, the bathroom floor.
Yeah, they have a bit of a kiss and end up doing the bathroom floor naughty.
Bloody Mary naughty in the bathroom.
Do you think it might be in the contendership for Boxkers?
Possibly. That's 2 weeks in a row. We've had some weird naughty.
That's very true. Come back to Ed. He's still with this lady who's still in her bra. His girlfriend walks in. Is it?
Yeah.
I presume girlfriend or wife. I don't think it ever really tells you. And she's like, Ed, what's going on?
Yeah.
And this woman who just takes no prisoners,
he's
gives no
speechless.
shit. She's just like, well, I've got ink all over my top and he's getting it out for me.
Yeah, she's like, darling, I was a model for 10 years. This is nothing unusual.
Yeah, exactly. So, and she diffuses the situation instantly. This lady does. It was quite funny.
And Head's girlfriend's just like, yeah, fair enough. And turns around. Yes.
We cut back to Sam and Molly. They're clearly in post-naughtiness on the bathroom floor, both naked. And we get a flashback again to...
Well, they're talking about what was the best sex we ever had.
Yeah. And I think they count that one they've just had as number 2, and so we get a flashback to find out what number 1 was. And they're deciding to do some role-playing.
Yeah.
They go to a local hotel. Sam checks himself in as like a businessman, I guess. And Molly turns up as a prostitute.
I thought it was like the monologue that Sam had in front of the mirror was quite funny.
Yeah, it was good, actually.
And he's trying out all his lines.
So Molly turns up in her car. She's got a wig on because she's a prostitute. But when she gets out of the car, unfortunately, there's a wedding on in the foyer of the hotel that she has to walk through the middle of.
It's a proper posh.
Proper posh, yeah. And so she gets to the reception. She's really embarrassed, obviously. She gets to the front desk. She tells them who she is, and she gets taken up to the room, basically dressed as this hooker. I guess the naughtiness ensues from there. We don't see it because we cut straight back to the bathroom floor. And she actually apologises to him. She's like...
Yeah, she says, I've been terrible to you today.
I've been a dick today, basically, is what she says. I'm really sorry. We're fine. How did your work thing go? And then he's like, I have to leave. Because he'd completely forgotten that he should still be in this meeting. As he's getting dressed, though, she takes a shower. And she gets a text on her phone, which is obviously linked to her iPad. Because Sam sees this message come up on her iPad. And it's from Arik. And it basically says, it was nice to see you. Or nice to see you today.
No, it's stronger than that. It's something like, I can't stop thinking about you.
Oh, yeah, it was. Yeah, you're right. It was, I can't stop thinking about you. So he reads this message. Oh, that's a bit strange. And then from within the bathroom, Molly answers. But she just puts something like, now is not a good time.
Yeah.
And obviously Sam sees that pop up on the phone. So now he thinks that she's in some sort of relationship with this guy. And then a dick pic appears on the screen. He sends her a picture of his giant dick.
Absolute hog.
It really was. Instead of not saying anything, Sam literally bursts into the bedroom and confronts her about it, or the bathroom and confronts her about it straight away.
She's like, "What are you doing? Looking at messages?" He's like, "There's a massive dick."
Yeah, he says I wasn't. I was just standing there and a dick appeared.
Made me laugh.
Eventually, they have another massive row. He storms out again. He's very upset this time.
Because he doesn't accuse her of anything.
No.
He says, look, you said now's not the time. Does that mean there might be a time? What does he say? He says something like, you're leaving the door open for him.
Yeah. And they have another argument out in the street, don't they? In front of all the neighbours again.
Yeah.
And the car...
This time, Sam's not scared of arguing in front of the neighbours, so it's a bit of a role reversal.
So he gets in the car. She's left out in the street in just a towel. It's not looking good for them. He goes back to this meeting, but unfortunately the lady's left, and Ed's there now on his own.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, she'd left. So Sam's like, I'm not having that. I've run back here. I'm going to follow her. So they follow her they know she's going to a school to pick up a kid, so they follow her there. He basically confronts her, doesn't he? He's like shouting and swearing at her.
Yeah, he's like, I've had a shit day.
Blah, 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 all this.
You know, how dare you dismiss us?
Yeah, because she says to him...
We deserve a chance, basically.
She says to him, leave me alone. This isn't the time or the place. Call me tomorrow. And he's like, I'm not calling you tomorrow. You'll just ignore all my calls. And he completely loses it to her. And she's like, well, actually, I'm going to buy your product. And he's like, oh, okay. And it just goes from there, doesn't it?
She says, well, I was going to call you because I've been standing here at the school for 10 minutes. And I've had several comments about how awesome my shirt is.
Yeah, because she's got the top on with the ink all over it.
Yeah, with all over the back. And she says, I was going to ask you to design something like this because I think it's got potential.
Yeah, because it's got all the different logos on one top, hasn't it? She's like, maybe you should do a polka dot design of all your logos. So they've basically sold their product.
They're both flawed by this, aren't they?
Yeah. Molly's then... We got to Molly. Molly's at her parents' house. She's kind of moping around on her bed. She talks to her mum again. She says, look, I love him, but maybe it's okay to love someone and let them go. And her mum kind of dismisses that out of hand because she says, me and your dad never loved each other. We only got married to keep him in the country because he's foreign, isn't he? I didn't catch where he was from.
Italian.
Oh, was he Italian? Okay.
Yeah.
We only got married to keep him in the country. I pretty much hate him. I always have done. But
she says, but it wasn't a mistake.
Yeah, I was just getting to that.
Sorry. yeah, she says it wasn't a mistake to get married because we had you.
Because of you, yeah.
Yeah.
And then
but she says, if you love this guy, what are you even thinking about letting him go for?
Yeah, she says, don't throw it away just because you're scared. So she calls him, and she calls Sam. He doesn't take a call. He ignores the call. Yeah. So she calls Ed. Ed doesn't like her. You can see this straight away. He's not her biggest fan. But she says, I love him. I've realised now that I love him. And Ed's like, oh, he's my best mate. If you love him, then that's fine. I'll help you. Yeah. And he says, I don't know where he is, but he mentioned Georgia, who was his ex-girlfriend.
Yes.
This is such a weird scene now. This scene was pointless.
It was unnecessary,
silly scene. Yeah. So she goes to Georgia's house.
It wasn't awkward enough as they were going for the awkward, and it wasn't. It just fell flat for me.
Yeah. So she goes to Georgia's house. She knocks on the door. She thinks that Georgia doesn't recognise her, and Sam's clearly not there. So to make up for the fact that she's knocked on this stranger's door, she asks if she can call a tow truck for a car. Yeah. And then she calls a tow truck for a car. The minute she puts the phone down, Georgia says, "Look, I know you are. You're the new girlfriend. I've obviously Facebook stalked you a lot over the years. I've even written it. This is a weird scene." And then it appears that this Georgia tries to make her boyfriend jealous, because he comes in and he's like, "Who's this?" And she's like, "Oh, do you remember Sam, my ex-boyfriend? This is his current girlfriend. She was looking for him."
They kind of like teamed up on emasculating this poor guy.
Yeah, they really did. And it was really,
all he was doing
really
was
weird.
Looking after the kid.
It was really strange.
Yeah, it was a odd scene.
Yeah. Then we cut to Sam, who's driving a car. He drives past an electronics store, which triggers another flashback to a time when they had some fun times in an electronics store.
The same store. Yeah.
The same store, yeah. This store, for some reason, also sells milkshakes.
It was like a Costco type place,
wasn't it?
It was
a massive, great big thing,
yeah.
Yeah. So he goes in and he has this shake that they've had before, and he takes it back. He's like, "This doesn't taste the same," because I'm sad.
Yeah, he's proper moping.
Yeah, I was sad now, and I'm happy then. And then it gets even worse for him because the couple from the start of the film turn up.
They're obnoxiously happy.
Obnoxiously happy, yeah. He clearly hates them, and they don't see it at all. And they're like, "Oh, where's Molly? Is she out there somewhere?" And they ask like briefly where she is, but then they start talking about themselves again. Yeah, they talk about themselves a lot. They even want him to take a photo. And
of them doing their shopping.
Yeah, and he basically just gives them the phone back and just walks away. And they're still talking to him, but he just walks away from them. Meanwhile, Molly's gone back to their house, and this scone is still on the bed. The scone from earlier that you remember that Sam was trying to get her to eat.
From breakfast, yeah.
Yes.
She's kind of given up because, she doesn't know where else to look for him.
Yeah.
She's obviously had a long day. She's like, "Oh, yeah, okay.
I'm just going to scoff down on this scone." Yeah. She opens the jam, which he was so desperate for it to open earlier, and there's a key in there. I thought it was going to be a ring. But
so did I, yeah.
It turns out it's a key. And it's a key for a hotel room in the same hotel that they had their best ever sex in earlier.
Yeah.
And we cut to Sam. Sam's there now. Molly starts heading there.
He's emptied the minibar.
Yeah, he's a bit drunk. A bit worse for wear.
Into one glass.
Yeah. He heads down to the bar after this and he starts talking to a girl. And he starts to try and recreate that first moment with Molly. But this girl doesn't.
Yeah, but
she just doesn't get it.
Yeah, she won't do the whole let's make up stories about the people in the bar gimmick.
This bit did make me laugh because he made up this whole story about this couple and she's like, "Oh no, I met them earlier. They're doctors or whatever." She knew them.
Yeah, that's John and Jan from New York.
Molly turns up. She's wearing a wig again. It's her dad's wig because his dad's got cancer. Yeah. She found his dad's wig in the car. There's another wedding on when Molly arrives, and it's a really, that sounds horrible to say, a really old couple, but an older couple, and they're probably their 70s getting married. And
so and you hear a bit of the speech, and the Reverend is saying they were friends when they were young.
Yeah.
Or they had a fling when they were young, and then they moved apart or whatever, and then 52 years later they met again, and they were now just rekindling their relationship.
Yeah, and they realised that.
Which obviously hits very close to home for Molly.
Because she realised she doesn't want to waste these 52 years. She basically watches this whole wedding.
Yeah.
While she's doing that, Sam's gone back to this lady's room, and Molly goes up to his room, but he's not there, obviously. Sam sees some perfume, which triggers another memory.
It's the same perfume that Molly wears.
Yeah, basically. And he leaves the girl on the bed. He's like, no, I'm done. And goes back to his own room. And Molly's there out on the balcony. They have a bit of a kiss, a bit of a make-up.
He asks her if she enjoyed the scone.
Yes, basically. The next day, they're driving home. Sam says, where does last night go on our scale of best sex ever? And she's like, I think I've got a new number one. And then they try and beat the gates again into their house.
And this time, Sam takes the risk.
Yes, and scratches the car. And then the film ends.
Yeah.
What did you think, Nick?
I enjoyed it.
Yeah?
Yeah, I mean, it didn't pull up any trees, don't get me wrong. But I thought it was breezy. It had enough funny lines in it, clever lines in it, to keep me going through, basically. I didn't particularly, like I said, like the characters. They were self-centered, self-obsessed. But I think there was enough bouncing off between them and especially with Ed to create some light relief as well, that it didn't really drag for me. It zipped along at a fair pace, and I'm really glad I wasn't watching Temple.
There is that. There is
week.
very much that. A message popped up in the Discord earlier today from Sam, one of our Patreons, and he said, all it said was, you're going to hate this. And it was aimed at me. I didn't hate it. I'm going to put it out there straight away. But like I texted you last night whilst I was watching it, I was like, this is about as far out of my comfort zone as we've ever been. Because I don't watch films like this. I don't think I've ever seen a film like this. I have no frame of reference for any film like this.
Well, so, are you sure though? Because it made me think of like Results last year. I mean, this is faster than that. This is funnier than that. But I was like, we're on that sort of rom-com ground,
maybe,
aren't we? It's not.
Maybe
it's not mainstream.
I found it harder than Results.
It's quirky.
I think I found it harder to watch than Results.
Oh really? Yeah, that's interesting.
I hated Results. I didn't hate Results. I didn't enjoy Results. I probably enjoyed this more than that. I really struggle with films like this because I don't watch them in like normal everyday life.
Okay.
So I've got no frame of reference on whether I enjoyed this or not. Like you said, I didn't enjoy the two characters. I think they're both horrible people. Ed was the best thing about the film. But I didn't hate it. But at the same time, it isn't what I'm here for. You know what I mean? It's not. Yeah, I have no expertise in this area, and yeah. I struggled. I did struggle to keep it. It struggled to keep my attention.
I see. It didn't with me. It made me laugh enough. Like I say, it wasn't long enough for me to drift off into anything else.
I paused it about 35 minutes in and was like, I've got 42 minutes left. So.
Oh really? Okay.
But at the same time, we've seen this. I'd rather watch this than Temple, definitely. So
this is pretty inoffensive.
Yeah, it was.
Like I say, it had some funny lines. It definitely, it did make me laugh several times.
Yeah, I laughed a couple of times. I must admit, the two birds one scone joke made me laugh.
That's brilliant.
It is brilliant. But yeah, I don't know. It's difficult for me, this one, because it isn't my sort of thing, and it isn't a sort of film that I would normally watch. So I struggle with this one.
That's why we have the randomiser.
Exactly, that's what it's here for. It's to educate us as well as entertain us, I guess. It's better than Temple.
It's easily the best thing we've seen this season.
It is easily the best film we've seen this season. I feel like we may have arguments about it later on in the season as films start to move around it.
Potentially.
But that could be interesting. But at the minute, it's number one in the stream table, I guess. There was too many montages and flashbacks. It was all over the place.
Yeah, but it leaned on that as its gimmick.
It did,
That was its storytelling gimmick. It wasn't. They weren't filler. That was how we learnt about these characters.
Yeah, probably.
They weren't. It wasn't just to waste time or.
Some of them were to waste time
for some pretty shots. Maybe it wasn't always executed well, but I thought it was written pretty strongly.
Yeah. I've got no issue with the writing. Like you said, the dialogue was fun. Maybe it's just the two characters. Maybe I just didn't enjoy those two characters. Ben Schwartz is better than this.
This is going to sound weird because I've just said it's well written, but I think probably most of the cast are better than this.
Yeah, probably. If it had been a cast of unknowns,
Because-
it maybe would have been better.
Because ultimately it is quite slight, isn't it?
There's nothing there. There's no substance to it. It is just two people deciding whether they should be together or not. And at the end of the film, they stay together. So we're no further forward on where they were together at the start and they're together at the end. It's just basically an argument.
My biggest criticism would be I was never totally emotionally invested in which way they went.
Yeah, didn't care.
I wasn't rooting. I wasn't rooting for them to either be together or break up. I thought I might get that. Like I said at the start, there was that one montage / flashback to their bad moments when they, like I say, they properly did some acting.
Yeah.
And then that was never really required again through the rest of the movie.
I don't know, it just felt like a bit of a waste of time. It was a bit like, oh, I've seen that now. They were together at the beginning. They had an argument. They're together at the end.
We've had many wastes of time, and this wasn't.
It was like a night with you and your missus. Oh, sorry. Do you want to try and turn the tide on it?
Yeah, I want a bit more heart in it. I think
I'd like to recast it.
Okay.
I don't know who. I don't know who with. I just don't think those two had very good chemistry, and I think
do you want
that was the real detriment to the film. Let's put Noah Centino in it.
Play
with
it.
Somebody. I don't know.
I was going to say, you don't want comics in it?
No, I don't want comics in it at all.
Because both the leads are primarily known for that, aren't they?
Yeah. I really felt like they struggled with their chemistry, and I didn't feel like they came across as a couple that had been together for 3 years. And I don't know who I'd recast it with, but I don't feel like those two were the best people for the roles.
Okay, fine. I wanted, like I say, a bit more emotion, a bit more, pull me in on the heartstrings a bit more. Plenty of time to do that, like you said, it's 75 minutes long.
It felt like an early Paul Rudd film. Maybe get Paul Rudd in there.
For me, it was like, I think it wanted to be 500 Days of Summer.
Yeah.
And it couldn't get there.
Yeah, that's fair.
I don't know. Maybe if Zooey Deschanel had been in this playing every character the same character she always plays.
Let's cast Paul Rudd and Zooey Deschanel. Done. That's how you make this film better. Same script, different actors. And I love Ben Schwartz as well, so maybe it's her fault. Right. Shall we move on?
Okay, fine.
Do you want to pick next week's film?
Yes, please.
No worries. Nobody's played the wild card yet. It's a bit early. So we'll hit the randomiser. What are you looking... Unless you're going to play yours.
No, I'm good. I'm good.
What are you looking for?
It's in my pocket.
What do you want from next week?
Let's see some stuff explode.
Yeah, action?
Yeah, brainless action.
Brainless action. Let's go for it. Right, I'm going to press the button. Are you ready?
Yes.
It has picked a film called John Henry.
Okay.
That's the name of the film, not anybody in it. Any ideas what John Henry is?
I'm just racking my brains because I do remember the title is familiar. I have definitely seen it while looking through our list, but I'm not bringing back to the front of my brain who's in it.
Okay. Do you want to know the synopsis? It's from last year. It's quite recent.
Yes, please.
The synopsis says, when two immigrant kids on the run from his former South Los Angeles gang leader... I'm going to start this again because it's really badly written.
Okay.
When two immigrant kids on the run from his former South Los Angeles gang leader stumble into his life, John is forced to reconcile with his past in order to try and give them a future.
Okay.
Do you want to know the tagline?
Yes, always.
The tagline is, hear his hammer ring.
Okay.
Currently rated at 3.5 out of 10, this film stars Terry Crews.
Oh, okay. Let's bring it on.
Jamila Velasquez and Ludacris.
I'm here for this.
This sounds fun, man.
This feels like prime bottom of the stream.
100% bottom of the stream. 3.5 out of 10. Terry Crews, Ludacris, and a man who's got a hammer. I'm excited.
I mean, John Henry is a pretty boring name for a film.
It's a really boring name for a person, let alone a film. Okay, so yeah, I'm excited for that one. 1 hour and 31 minutes will be the longest film of the season.
Okay.
So yeah, go and check out John Henry. In the meantime, check us out on Instagram, Twitter and Letterboxd, all at BOTS_podcast. Facebook.com/bottom of the stream. The email address is bottomofthestream@gmail.com. The website is bottomofthestream.com. On the website, you will find every episode we've ever recorded. You will find all 4 season stream tables, both seasons Botscars Awards winners, loads of other cool stuff on the website. It's really good fun. There's also a page where you can buy some Bottom of the Stream merch if you want a apron or a iPad cover or something like that. Also check us out on Patreon, patreon.com/bottom of the stream. For a couple of quid every month, you will get early access to the episodes, now 4 days early sometimes. You will get bonus episodes, which we'll do more of when we can get back together. We've left the bonus episodes a little bit, but once we're back in the same room, I feel like we could do more of that.
Yeah, definitely.
We'll give you some stickers if you want them. We've got phone covers. We've got all sorts going on. Nick writes a newsletter every month, and if you come in at the top level, you will get a wild card, so you can pick the film that we talk about. And also check us out on Discord. Discord is where all the fun's happening right now. We've got a good few people in there now chatting every day. It's always active. It's always fun. Check us out. The Discord link will be in the bottom of the show notes.
Yep, come and join us there. It is a good time. If you can't do that, then please consider spending a couple of minutes to leave us a review wherever you can review podcasts. That could be Podbean, Podchaser, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or anywhere else you can find us, which is pretty much anywhere.
Yep, pretty much.
If you want, you could not leave us a review, think about leaving us a review, write us a review, but don't send it. Then wait a week. Then think about the time you wrote us a review in flashback.
Or write us loads of reviews and then do a montage of all the reviews.
Like it, yeah.
So yeah, do that. Check us out. Check out, what's it called? John Henry. And we'll see you next Monday for the episode 3 of The Wave. And we'll be back next Thursday where we talk about John Henry.
Cheers.
Bye.